Hello folks, and good morning. Welcome to a quick discussion on Armored Core, specifically about the feel of Armored Core, what makes an Armored Core game. And also, before we actually get started here, a little bit of a thing. If you were, by any chance, a fan of the third generation, specifically early third generation of Armored Core, and you wanted to kind of whet your appetite for the series until we get more information from Gamescom or what have you, go ahead and look up Javelin's AI Arena. This is a set of challenge fights for the PSP version of Silent Line. Basically just a bunch of custom AIs that the guy was going and manually training a few years ago. Kind of creating a lot of fun little fights here and what have you. I was doing a rocket-only challenge of this a little while ago. Figured I'd go ahead and kind of whip out the old files here while we discuss this. But what exactly gives an Armored Core game the feeling of an Armored Core game? Because a lot of the opinions that I saw popping up seemed to be under this weird impression that the lockbox was the entirety of the experience, that you just hold your lockbox onto stuff and shoot, when there's so much more to these games. It's really the physicality that sets these games apart from everything else. This idea that you're able to just kind of look at the other guy and it's like, okay, they're using, these parts over here, they're using these parts over here. I know this, potentially causes them to move in this particular way. Like, for example, if I'm shooting a quad with rockets, I know they're going to dangle their legs down slightly more, which makes them a bit more susceptible when firing from below, but also means that their overall profile is going to be slightly lower, which means that they might be harder to hit from whenever firing from a sort of neutral standing position, so to speak. In many cases, for a lot of challenge runs, you actually never end up moving the lockbox at all. All you really move is your AC. But kind of focusing on the other guy, knowing what exactly they're going to be doing based off the stuff that they brought, this kind of prediction factor, honestly, that's what's always made AC for me personally. Like this idea of like, okay, I know this has this many rounds to it. It has, potentially they might be susceptible to this kind of damage right here. Like right here, this guy's moving around a lot, so I'm trying to clip him with my napalm rockets to slow him down, to burn through his energy a little bit. In some cases, if they're going to be moving faster, I'm just going to be using these sort of volley fire combination of the burst rockets as well as the lefty napalms, stuff like that. Like, this kind of prediction factor of knowing what your shots are going to do, what their shots are going to do, what their parts cause them to act like, that's always what's made this series to me. It doesn't matter what kind of lockbox or whatever else they went with for any one of these games, realistically speaking, because the actual core of the experience, no pun intended, has always been this prediction thing. Like, we take a look at this guy, and it's like, okay, he's got his linear arms, which means he's going to be shooting very directly, he's going to be going for a lot of heat. Lightweight frame means he's probably going to be fairly aggressive. Machine gun on the back, probably again going into that aggression thing. Probably going to be opening up with not rockets, but missiles due to his shoulders and mid missiles. There, he's probably going to start with a few quick bursts and then try to go through the chaos there. He's going to be running OPI because he's got that cannon on his back. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and give this guy a bit of a look here, see what he's rocking, see what he's doing. But I can pretty much predict right from the get-go that he's almost definitely going to be starting off with a missile barrage. So as soon as he locks, as soon as we see that lock, we throw out some decoys here. It's kind of prediction game of knowing what they're going to do, where they're going to move, countering the things that haven't even happened yet. Kind of knowing what they'll do, knowing where they'll be. That's the fun of the series. Like, it's just, a lot of it is a mind game, especially when doing PvP type of stuff. If you ever played any of the AC games online, especially like 4th gen and 5th gen, there's so much like mind gaming going on that happens here. And if you ever want to see that in action, you want to see it directly happen, watch 2 3rd gen players do a rocket-only fight. Okay, apparently my bindings to hit that button are acting funny today. That is good to know. Anyway, like over here, like, why is my overboost not turning off? Anyway, must have accidentally bound something wrong. Oh well, we're back. Let's get back to it. So yeah, if you ever want to see some craziness, just watch any kind of rocket fights between some 3rd gen players, and a lot of times they'll be trying to dodge each other in the exact same ways, which cause them to consistently hit each other, because they're both they've both practiced the same dodges, because they're like, it's typically the same kind of dodges that would happen in these earlier games, because of the way the movement works. So it's a funny mental experience as far as all that goes. Or like right here, I know that this guy's going to keep trying to flank over to the side, so I keep just kind of circle strafing and hitting him in that direction. The skill isn't like keeping the lockbox in the center of the screen, the skill is predicting where the other guy's going to be. So in addition to whether it is truly the hard lock, whether there isn't one, considering that we see that there's an option for both things, and considering no one's actually played it yet, honestly, both versions work just fine, because you're still focusing on the other guy, you're still trying to keep the other AC in front of you, and you're still trying to predict what they're doing. And what's actually especially funny is the ones that were... what is that bound to that I keep... I think that's actually... Okay, I think I know what's going on. I bound it to one of my back triggers on the Steam Deck. That's what's going on. Anyway, so yeah, the ones that were showing up with comments, insisting to know exactly what the new one feels like, you definitely can see all the stuff happening. You can see the toggle on and off happening in one of the trailers, which is kind of... you'd think that would come up more often. But there's a, specifically if you listen to the beeps and boops, I guess it's more you hear it more so than you see it. But every time that they go and they switch over between the different targeting modes, you can hear the beeps and boops going off, basically saying, okay, you're specifically locking into this guy, or you're in a more freeform mode right now. I mean, to me, that just sounds like an additional feature. I don't know why that became so dang contentious. But yeah. Right here, as far as the prediction game goes, so to speak, I'm letting him burn himself through some of his missiles here, throwing out a few decoys, so that if he does go for those missiles, he'll end up missing most of the time. I need to kind of stay around those, though, for that to be effective. But I see that he's moving fairly laterally, just kind of turning and slapping him whenever I see the opportunity present itself, because I know vaguely where he's going to be. Funnily enough, this was around the point that, Mr. Javelin was going and making a whole lot of different versions of these, and I have a feeling that they were adapting to the kinds of bullshit that the community came up with. Specifically, I was going through and, when I was going and rocket-onlying them, I have a feeling at some point... Okay, that is definitely bound to that button. At some point, I have a feeling that he wanted to add a bit more of a challenge to some of the rocket-only type of stuff, because a lot more of them suddenly blended into the background and were not vibrant reds and greens and stuff. Anyway, really fun arena to play around with if you're ever curious. But yeah, right here, what I'm trying to do here, while also getting distracted by my L4 over here being my overboost button, because I usually like to rest, kind of rest my hand, and just kind of happens to push that button in on the Steam Deck. But what I was trying to do there is kind of make use of the fact of the firing pattern of the machine gun, in order to know that he's gonna have a little bit of lag, so I can kind of circle dodge around it. Stop hitting the button. All right. Anyway, one of these days I will learn to hit that button. Not hit that button, but today is not that day, and anyway, so, feel of these games, like I said, just to me, it has always been about the prediction game, about understanding the machines, the parts. That's the important part. It's not one specific mechanic, it's not any of that kind of stuff. The part that matters is whether or not the machines do the stuff that they're meant to do. The fact that every part will kind of add to the build, so to speak, that it'll cause different characteristics to happen. And I think 4th Gen in particular really stuck out for that one, just because even stuff like stabilizers could affect the overall weight characteristics and stuff like that. I saw one guy, of all things, I rarely ever saw that many builds incorporating stabilizers as actually part of their strategy. But there was one time when I saw a guy specifically making it so that the thing drifted in one exact direction, and just basically was tuned entirely for out-turning the other guy. Just turning on permanent overboost on a tank and just trying to outdrift the other guy through means of leaning slightly harder through stabilizers. These kinds of fun things, the kind of fun interactions between your parts, that's what matters in this series. Keeping a lockbox on somebody isn't a measure of the entire experience. It's that's the basics. That's the absolute most basic baby stuff that you can kind of be expected to do in this game. I mean, honestly, if they made it fully automatic, I wouldn't even care, because that's not the important part. Being able to dodge, being able to predict, that's where the actual skill in these games comes in. Just watch any high-level PvP matches and tell me that just keeping a lockbox on screen was the entirety of what's going on there. It's not. It's an entire mental chess game going on in the background, and it feels awesome. It's literally just a fighting game. Imagine if fighting games were, we're doing the usual fighting game thing, and someone's yeah, the entire measure of fighting game is keeping something on screen. but they're already on screen. They should already be on screen at all times. That's not the skill of the game. Like, I would hope that you know where the thing you're fighting is, you know? Anyway. Man, I can't wait till AC6, though. It's looking freaking good. I can't wait till the demo stuff comes out. Just excited, you know? It's just looking fan-freaking-tastic. All right. So, that's all I want to say for right now. All I got time for right now. Y'all have yourselves a good one, and take care. Bye.